Hello everyone, I have been given the honour of asking all of your questions to Mark Fixes Stuff.
Hello.
For his Q&A. Is this just for patrons or is this going public?
Patrons only asking the questions, but it will be public.
Oh, okay. Right, best behaviour then.
Mark Fixes Stuff. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. You can get an instant quote on a variety of services, or browse a library of talented makers' designs, add them to your cart, and have them delivered directly to your door.
Dave Velociraptor says, what are your plans to get back to normal?
Back to normal? I've never been normal. Really, just sort of push on and keep going and see what happens. Yeah.
John Orin, hi John, says,
hello, mate.
What camera did you get in the end? Because you've obviously had to replace your equipment.
In the end, I got a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K Pro with a Sigma 24-105 lens. I couldn't quite spring for the equivalent Canon version because it was very expensive.
I remember looking at these when I was looking at a camera last, and I didn't get one because I was scared that it was completely manual.
Yeah.
And it didn't come with a lens, and I don't have the experience to know what lens I needed for what I was doing.
It's difficult to visualise, isn't it, as well?
But because you have a background in photography, you know this stuff, don't you?
Yeah, but I think you probably end up doing more work with your Panasonic than you would do with the Blackmagic, but you wouldn't know that until you used them in anger, as it were.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. But don't expect a massive jump in quality quickly, because I really want to work out the workflow before I start including it into the videos, so I don't end up shooting something that's going to take me like 5 days to edit and everything. So
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
The Steven Spielberg of retro repairs.
The Steven Spielberg. As long as I'm not the George Lucas, just ruin everything.
Philip Wright, Derek Booth asks, what has been your best video since you started the channel and why?
Best video. My best video is your favourite video.
Oh, I'm going to pin you down here. So let's just say recent ones. What's your best recent video?
I quite enjoyed the last one I did, where I made the was it Fast Load cartridge? I can't remember. It all went up in flames, so I can't remember now. Kind of blocked it out. But I made a cartridge and I started using some macro lenses to get the soldering going. And you could actually see the solder bubbling in the joints.
Oh, nice. That's satisfying.
So, yeah, I can't remember exactly which one it was, but that macro worked.
You had that moment in editing where you were like...
I was like, that's it. That's what I want, yeah. And then, of course, I was like, now how can I get this better quality, you know? Yeah, so one of my recent videos with the macro lens.
Excellent. Thank you, Derek. Philip Wright says, I have no questions. I'm just glad you and yours are okay.
Thank you, Philip.
When I saw your video about the fire, I was heartbroken. Oh. I've watched you many times on RMC. Hello. And had just subscribed to your channel when it happened.
I don't blame you. It's not your fault. Causation is not.
He goes on to say,
it's not linked.
I've done what I... If you hadn't subscribed to the channel, none of this would have happened. He says, I've done what I could afford to do, and I hope the best for you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
From Waterford, PA in the USA. Much love, Phil. Which state is PA? Do you know?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania?
I think.
Okay.
Is that
we'll go with
Pennsylvania?
Correct if we're wrong, Phil. But...
We've all got sat-navs these days. So.
Yes. Greg O'Connell, hello Greg, says, hi Mark. Why did you start Mark Fixes Stuff?
Yep.
And what did you do before starting the channel? And is it your full-time job?
Why did I start Mark Fixes Stuff? I was in a few Facebook groups and people were releasing videos, so I decided to make my own, and it was a gameplay video of me playing Manic Miner. And that was quite well received, and people asked for more, so I made more, and just came from there, really. Before that, I worked for Epson, the electronics company, as a technical trainer for Europe, Middle East and Africa. And after that, I was a professional photographer for a number of years. Then I became a DJ.
And is MFS your full-time job?
Not at the moment. I hope it will be one day. But at the moment, I'm also working events, playing records for people and making them happy.
And he says, P.S. I hope the Gummy crew are okay.
They're fine. They're always fine.
Andrew Ayres says, what system did you learn about later than you wished you'd been able to experience when it was new?
The MSX and the MSX2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we always saw the cassettes of those alongside the Commodores and even the Atari stuff. You know, yeah, not many people knew people with the Ataris, but I never knew anyone with an MSX.
Yeah, and it was common. It was publishers that we were familiar with, like Codemasters. You'd see maybe on the top shelf just 1 or 2 games that said MSX.
That's right. Yeah,
but you never got to see them run. Or I certainly, and it sounds like you had the same experience.
Exactly.
Didn't know any friends with one.
Yeah, and then you find out later that basically anything on a tape is just going to be a lazy Z80 port, and anything on a cartridge by Konami is probably going to be fantastic. Apart from
maybe even have some custom chips thrown in there to make it even better. Yeah.
So yeah, MSX definitely.
MSX, good choice. Knifer says, glad it seems you and your family are doing all right, mate. Very happy to have joined to help you out. My question is, what are you doing to keep yourself relaxed and have a bit of fun at the minute?
Honestly, just setting up my repair area in the dining room, getting all my tools ready and putting things into drawers with labels. It doesn't make me a bad person,
isn't it?
It is. And to be honest, you know, what I do would be my hobby anyway. So I'm very, very lucky in that respect. So yeah, just sort of getting set up again. Lots and lots of shopping. And lots of breaking down cardboard boxes and going to my local recycling centre. Loads of it.
But good kind of shopping, not the
Good
kind of shopping with it that you hate having to do.
Not beans.
Not socks.
Not socks.
Philip McAllister says, if you had a time machine and a briefcase full of cash, which era would you travel back to, and which fully kitted out dream machine would you buy with it?
Ooh, I would probably go back and get lots and lots of CD32s and then bring them back here and drip feed them into the market.
The CD32.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rubbish machine, but you've got to admit, they're worth a few quid now.
Yeah.
I'd go to the point where Commodore had made such a donkey's arse of it that everything was like bog cheap. You know, you could pick them up for like 30 quid.
In the bargain bin.
And I'd just pick up as many as I could and bring them back with my time machine.
Get some FMV modules while you're there.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll probably give those away for free, and I'll just bring them back. And a couple of SX1s as well. Bring those back.
And maybe just make a little trip so that you appear in that intro video on Cannon Fodder, just in the background, just walking past.
Yeah.
With a briefcase full of cash.
And a briefcase full of cash, and I'll just nick the Donald Duck head. And just run
Maybe
off,
it is you, we don't know.
Benny Hill style into the distance. So yeah, good question.
Thank you, Philip. The Retro Channel asks, he says, yeah, I got a question. Does Barry Manilow know you raid his wardrobe?
Oi!
And then he says, oh wait, sorry, that one's for Neil. Thanks very much for that.
How did he know
Barry
you'd be asking
Manilow.
questions?
Yeah, how did he
know?
I reckon you set him up.
Oh.
He does go on to say, what is your all-time favourite system? There can be only one, no runners-up, no close seconds.
PC Engine.
Oh, okay, PC Engine,
Without
straight
question.
in there.
Yeah.
PC Engine. It's got to be the PC Engine. It's got to be the white one.
White or grey, I don't mind.
Or the TurboGrafx.
The white
don't
one's
mind.
cute, but you know, obviously I need more than one. So
CD-ROM.
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 Would you want that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, CD-ROM. Any other extras?
No.
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 Multi-tap, couple of pads.
Well, those are just standard as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, fine. Glad to hear you're getting back on your feet. Wish you and the family all the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Lurch, hi Jason.
G'day, mate.
G'day. He says, given you're having to start from scratch, what are your top 3 must-have machines to get back into the collection, taking into account price, availability, etc.? Top 3 must-have machines.
PC Engine, a CD32 so I can put some of those sweet modern add-ons into it, and MSX2, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, CD32 with a terrible fire is a wonderful, great machine. Beeblebrox says, most retro computer / game nerds have a killer, can you believe I got this thing for only that? Times when you feel you got really lucky or you caught a major break. I'm sure you have at least one or two stories you can share.
Okay, I've got two. First one, free cycle, where people give things away for free. I got a Nintendo and games, and when I went there, it was a Nintendo 64 with probably about 20, 30 box games, amongst which was Conker's Bad Fur Day Complete, which some of you know is worth £150 on a
All for
good day.
free.
All for free.
Jeez.
And I turned up late to collect it, and she kept it for me.
How long ago was this?
3 years, maybe 4.
Still worth a huge amount of money. And
Oh, well within the retro bubble. Well within the retro bubble.
what do you do in those situations? Because you must have known when you picked it up. Do you?
Well,
Should you say to someone, "Don't give it to me. This is worth a lot of money"?
Well,
Or
here's
should you
the
take
thing,
it knowing that it's going to a good home.
I always think it's bad form to, when someone's giving you something for free, to stand there and sort of go through and inspect it like you're going to discard the bits you don't want. So on the top of this box, which is about yay tall, was a dusty N64 controller with a wonky stick and I think F1 Formula Grand Prix. So I said, thank you very much. And then I drove home with it. And then as I got home, I took it out and I could see there were a lot more games underneath. And there was loads of really decent games in there.
Wow.
So,
Jealous.
yeah.
Jealous.
But I will say, also, in my defence,
I'm not accusing you, because
In
I
my
would have done
defence.
exactly the same, yeah.
she said, oh, I'm so glad that it's going to a good home because my husband was going to take it to the dump tomorrow.
Oh, well, fine.
So,
Yeah.
The other one I got for free was a CPC 464 with the disk drive, DDI 1,
Yeah.
and the drive and a load of games,
Nice.
which unfortunately that perished in the fire.
Okay, on to Mark Devlin. Hello, Mark. He
Hello, Dev.
says, glad to hear you're well. My question is, do you plan to do any more streaming in the future? And did you enjoy the ones over lockdown? And this is something we talked about just before we started
just before we
filming this,
started.
streaming.
Yes, very much so. The ones over lockdown, that was Neil's particularly, were a lot of fun. We developed the Get in the Bin format, which was funny because we threw
Get in the bin.
lemmings in the
No,
bin.
we saved lemmings from the bin. We didn't throw lemmings in the bin.
I threw lemmings in the bin when we finished. You just weren't
Don't
looking.
listen to him, Mike.
It's rubbish. It's not really rubbish. I just like winding them up.
Depends which port.
Yeah, well, that's true
There
as
are
well.
some rubbish
I
ones.
found an arcade port of that,
Yeah, there was a cabinet with a rollerball, wasn't there?
in the the joystick thing that we've got. It's on that.
Oh, the
What is it? 20
Pandora's box.
20
something.
billion in one.
Yeah.
None of it's emulated very well. Box. What was the question again? I can't remember.
The question was, it was Mark. Hang on, let me find Mark's question.
It was Dev, wasn't it?
It was. Oh, God, I've completely lost the questions. Hi, Mark. Glad to hear you're well. My question is, do you plan to do any more streaming?
Oh yeah, more streaming. Well, I've got a couple of hundred Twitch followers now, so I really should. I do suffer a bit from choking though, so I don't like to stream because I don't feel like I've got anything to say. But when I'm streaming, it feels natural. So it's hard to get started, but it's easy to stream, if that makes sense. I think lots of people probably suffer from the same thing. But I will definitely be doing some streams when I've worked out something I can stream, and it'll probably just be me getting a machine with an SD card, and I'll pick like 10 games and just do a stream. It's just because it's nice to chat to people as you do it, rather than say, hey, look at me, I'm some kind of
I remember
entertainment maven.
you put quite a bit of effort once into building this sort of streaming
I did,
corner,
yeah.
and you got all the
Yeah.
different camera angles, and you figured out OBS.
Yeah.
I think your daughter came and streamed at one
Did,
point
yeah,
with you, and then it kind of stopped. Was that just because you got busy, or did you not enjoy it?
I
or-
got busy with the real job,
Yeah.
and also, I got sort of behind on repairs and bits and bobs like that. So I always considered the YouTube channel as the primary thing that I need to deliver, and the streaming secondary. But I think going forward, what I really need to do is organise my time better, so that maybe I can have a set streaming time. So we'll try. I mean, I can't make any promises because it's difficult, especially when you've got children. And
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. On to our next question. Dave T says, what retro computer / console repair do you feel is your most satisfying to date, and why?
That's asking me to pick one of my children. It's difficult to say. I think
Was there one that was in a particularly bad state that was nice to get all the way back to working?
I can't remember what I've done now.
You had the Amstrad that was dug out of the ground, but that was never fully restored.
That was never fully restored, and it ended up just catching fire. It's really difficult to say. Really difficult to say. I'm going to have to pass on that one. Sorry.
Also, when did you have the moment of enlightenment that Blu Tack is in fact organic?
When I saw the Smurfs depositing it in my garden.
Thank you, Dave.
Cheers, Dave.
Lego Commando, did you have any background in electronics before you started your retro fixing, and what was your first retro fix?
First retro fix, probably the membrane on a Sinclair 48K Spectrum, and yes, I worked for an electronics company, major electronics company.
He also says, glad you and your family are okay, and thank you for all the joy and inspiration your channel has given us.
Oh, thank you.
Caleb Hansbury says, is the house salvageable? How much needs to be torn down? The damage looks pretty extreme.
The structure is fine. It's been checked out by an engineer. Walls, ceiling, floors, everything, plaster needs to come out and go back in, and it will take between a year and 18 months.
Wow. Jeff Murray says, depending on what tools you're able to salvage, again, so sorry, what tools are you going to procure first? What are your must-have tools that you need to get back into repair?
I've actually got quite a lot of them, and some of them are donations. So soldering iron, desolder station, hot air rework station, flux, and electronic microscope. They're the things that I need to begin with. It's all the little bits and bobs as well, like desolder wick and
IPA, bench power supply, maybe?
Not so essential, but I will get one, but yeah.
Simon Gould, 8-Bit Tronic, says, glad you are gradually getting back on your feet.
Hi, Simon.
And I'm hoping that you and your family are coping okay. My question is, did the gummy bears survive?
They did, yes.
And what filming equipment are you planning on using? So you've talked about your new
we've
camera.
covered that, yeah. Blackmagic.
New tripod, lighting?
Yep. LED lighting I've gone for. Because I'm in a limited space now in the rental house. I'm on the dining room table, which was the dining room table. I've just taken the whole thing over now, which is quite nice of my wife to not throw me out of the house.
And microphones?
Yeah, I've got some Boya microphones, wireless microphones, and I've got a Rode shotgun mic as well.
Do you combine the two? You have the ambience from the shotgun and then the lapel?
I very often don't talk to camera, but when I do, I like to have the lapel microphone, and the shotgun microphone gives all the background noise, like, you know, computer noises and all that sort of stuff.
Yep. Matthew Splett, what projects were in progress that you were itching to redo or resume?
Well, the Woodland C64 with CPC 464 rather, which will never be resumed because it was claimed by the fire, and the Spectrum Super Build, which also was claimed by the fire. So those are the two that I really regret.
The Dreamcast?
The Dreamcast is one that I'll do again, although that case was nearly £100. So it feels a bit ouchy getting another one.
I was just thinking, if of all the things that you had,
yeah.
The irony if that Amstrad board had somehow survived the fire, and the restoration could continue.
Oh, that would be marvellous. But
just need wind to go with earth and fire.
Yeah. Oh God, I have a hurricane next.
And Matthew also says, as you rebuild, what retro choices will you make differently this time?
Probably won't collect as many Spectrums because I had something like 37 of them, and it became sort of like a rescue centre for old machines. But now I've got more contacts now, so I can spread them out. I can field them rather than just hoard them all unto myself.
Maybe one of each model instead of lots of the same.
Yeah.
Wayne Robbins, hello Wayne, says,
hello, Wayne.
Glad to hear that you and your family were okay. Material things can always be replaced, people cannot. We look forward to some more Mark Fixes stuff in the future. I'm sure there's nothing that we can't find for you to replace your lost equipment.
Aww.
But it's more important that you get your home in order first. So my question is, how good a guitar player were you?
Terrible.
Did your guitar have more than one pickup head?
Yes. I had two single chords and one humbucker at the bridge position. Pardon me.
And Wayne says, I have a hunch you were pretty good.
Yeah, well, hunches are sometimes wrong, Retro Robbins.
Is there any evidence out there of your guitar playing that people can find or not?
If people look hard enough.
You're going to be coy. You're not going to share that.
No.
It's out there. John Bailey says, is there anything else that we can do to help you and your family now that you're past the initial shock and horror of the fire?
I think maybe I've received enough from the community, so I'd like to thank everyone for that. I'm really in a quite a nice position now, and I'm very, very thankful. So if people want to send me things, that's fine, but you don't need to. If you.
Richard Kearney says, what's your Grail computer/console? I know you said the PC Engine earlier.
Yeah.
So let's go with computer.
Okay, Sam Coupe, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Sam Coupe, I'd like.
Well, yeah, you might have an opportunity to work on one soon.
Yeah, lovely. Sometimes it's like other people's kids. It's lovely to visit them, but you can give them back. So
Yeah.
don't have to store them.
Gavin Hasselhurst says, when you were a kid, what was your dream system that perhaps you couldn't get your hands on at the time, and have you been able to get one since as an adult?
It's quite a simple one, actually, the Sega Mega Drive, because that was released and it was in the back of all the computing magazines, or the computer and video game magazines. I really, really wanted one, and I know a couple of people had imported them. They looked amazing within the context of the time. And I had loads of them. I had 5 at one point, and that was before I started collecting them. So yes, but now I have none of them. So
I mean, we get to play with all these exotic rare computers in the modern
do.
day, but as kids, you can only lust after what you know exists.
That's right.
And that was what was all glossy and being promoted in the magazines.
That's it.
And the Mega Drive
Yeah.
was a big one. Yeah.
I mean, even going back to Sam Coupe, I wouldn't have wanted that back in the day, but now I want to see it.
Yeah.
Like the Tattooing Einstein as well. That's another one.
George, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, says, did any original hardware from your youth perish in the flames?
Yeah, original 48K Spectrum and probably Commodore 64 that I had back in the day, and what else? Game Boy Advance boxed with all the bits and bobs, which was mine from back in the day. Had the Blockbusters price tag on it as well.
Oh, so
Definitely.
every time you looked at it, you could remember.
Yeah, I remember buying it. Yeah.
Bought it. Derek Nags asks, what's your ideal 8-bit computer? Can be an existing one that you pick, or just different things from different machines, just for a bit of fun.
Ideal 8-bit computer. You see, the nice thing is all the 8-bit computers are imperfect in their own ways. So I don't know if I'd like a perfect one. I think their imperfections are what drives them. And I think the imperfections from platform to platform are what drove people to be creative with the programming. So I'd say, for me, the perfect 8-bit computer was probably the Spectrum, because it was perfect for me then. But other people's opinions may vary. I wouldn't like to make a hybrid chimera of all of them, because I think that'd take the charm away. Yeah.
Good answer. Brad Rogers says, first let me say how glad we are that nobody was physically hurt.
Thank you, Brad.
Obviously there's been much mental damage done, and we hope that your recovery is going well now. Now to the question. Hard to answer this though, but if you could have saved one of them from the carnage, what would it have been?
Oof. One of the machines, probably the Dreamcast, actually.
Really?
The Dreamcast, yeah. The one that we put the HDMI, digital and everything into. Because all the other things are much easier to replace.
Okay, your next.
Yeah, restoring machines really. But, I do like to sit down and just build little projects like cartridges and stuff like that. They're quite nice as well.
If you could fulfill a dream, let's go. Even if you don't feel you've got the expertise to do it, if you could stop time, learn everything you need to learn, to be able to do a thing.
KISS pinball table.
Oh, nice.
I'd like to restore a KISS pinball table.
Okay.
Because I just love the colours. I like Gears as well.
Do you feel that you could do that now, or are there some certain skills that you need to fill in?
I'd have to learn the skills that went along, but I'd have a decent crack at it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's all solenoids, so it's not
There's
too difficult.
lots more mechanical stuff to deal with.
Yeah,
there,
that'd be
isn't
a
there?
lot of fun. Large format pinball machine would be awesome.
Nice. I'd like a pinball machine here at some point.
Yeah.
Simon Chatterley says, do you have a favourite type of machine, e.g. 8-bit, 16-bit, or are you just passionate about all things retro?
All of them, but I certainly like the 8 and 16 bits more than the IBM PC stuff. I'm more drawn to that. Yeah. So 8, 16-bit, yeah.
Okay, Alistair Montgomery, what was your favourite game on the Acorn Electron?
Sphinx Adventure.
Really?
I know it's a weird choice, being a text adventure, but I used to play it with my uncle who's no longer with us. And whenever I used to type in Go West, he used to start singing We Close Our Eyes, and it's, it's just a stupid joke. Really stayed with me.
Not Blagger then.
No. Nobody likes Blagger. It's impossibly hard.
Chris Lawrence, what are you most sad in losing collection-wise, and why is it your vast FIFA collection?
Or maybe it's Take That SingStar, you don't know. Most sad losing, a whole lot really, if I'm honest. And it's funny because you don't remember what you've got, but some days I'll remember that I had something and then realise that I don't have it anymore. So I couldn't really nail it down, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few times I've caught myself saying to you, oh, Mark, have you got one of these? Or can you help me one of those? And you're just like, no, Neil, I've lost everything.
I have nothing.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Don't remember
I feel really
screwdriver.
bad every time I do it.
It's not too bad.
But yeah, if you've got a copy of FIFA...
Don't do it.
Control Alt Reese. Hello, Reese.
Hi, Reese.
What's the video on your channel that you're most proud of? What's the story behind how said video came together, i.e. the decisions that led to it, research that went into it, etc.?
Do you know, it's a funny one, but the one that I'm most proud of, because it saved the most things going into landfill, is probably the one about quick fix for an LCD TV that's just not turning on, just clicking. I've had loads of comments, oh, you've saved me loads of money, my grandma's telly wasn't working, or we were going to take this to the dump. I found a TV out by my neighbour's dumpster and now it's working in my games room. So that's the one I'm most proud of, because I think it's had the biggest A, impact on the environment, and B, saved people the most money. And it's not just for retro. So that's the one that I like the most, being out there, as it were.
Like Gretro Thunberg.
I am. Gretro Thunberg.
Did you know that?
That's pretty bad. It's bad enough that I'm going to steal it.
Richard Shears says, what do you now need to help the channel? Or to rephrase that, what are the most important things that you currently need to help the channel? Sorry, it's probably a bit of an overwhelming question, so if you want to skip it, please do.
I think I sort of covered it already. I've kind of got everything I need to be getting on with. Had some really wonderful donations. Just really projects, really, coming up in the future, but I've got to be quite careful because I do have limited space. So
I think something you said to me before that you're grateful for is the patience and the support that you've had from
absolutely.
people. So,
yeah. Yeah, just the support, really. Yeah. Thank you very much. Keep watching, really.
Serge Caron says, what is your favourite game ever on an 8-bit computer/console of your youth? Also, what is the 8-bit game you found the most impressive?
Favourite game ever, Manic Miner. The game that I found most impressive on 8-bit system is Castle Excellent on the MSX1.
I haven't played that one. Was it called Castle Excellent?
Castle Excellent, yeah.
What kind of game is that?
Platformer, kind of puzzle platformer, flip screen. You've got to get different coloured keys to get through different doors, and it feels epic. It's really, really good.
What's excellent about it? Like the animation, the graphics? Or...
It's called Castle Excellent.
So it's just excellent by name.
It's excellent. Yeah. Excellent by name, excellent by nature.
Atom Neton says, what was the one that got away? Some system or component or tool that you've always wanted or lusted after that you never had a chance to get in your collection and that you perhaps might look out for in the future new collection?
Going to go with Sam Coupe again. Yeah, going to go with Sam Coupe again. And that is the one that got away because I've seen a couple of Sam Coupés that were given away to other people in the retro community, and I've been like, how did you get that? And they went, I actually got it for free off like a local Facebook group. I was like, oh.
Only 12,000 ever sold, I think. So
Yeah,
that's
not a
pretty
lot.
rare.
Not a lot.
Question 2, are there any other YouTubers that you watch regularly, other than that Amiga 600 hating Neil? Do you watch retro channels or stuff we'd never predict, like interpretive dance and K-pop?
Okay, so I'm going to steer away from retro channels. I do watch quite a few of them. I don't want to upset anyone. But what do I watch? I tend to watch a lot of video editing stuff for
Tips and tricks.
yeah, DaVinci Resolve and all that sort of stuff. And I watch Linus Tech Tips. I like that. I watch what else do I do? Gamers Nexus and is it Jay's 2 Cents. I watch that quite a lot. Just because I like the way they present the style. I'm not particularly into the modern PC stuff, but I do like the sarcasm. So, yeah.
And a third question, how did you get into retro stuff and how did you learn the skills you have for recapping and repairing temperamental old electronics?
I got into retro stuff in the last couple of years of secondary school. My friend Sidan, he got hold of a couple of rubber key Spectrums, which, you know, about 10 years previously I wanted, like, greatly. And he was gutting them, fitting hinges on the insides and turning them into pencil cases with a little butterfly clasp on the front. So immediately I told him to stop doing that and he wouldn't, so I had to buy them off of him. It was a 48K and a 16K model, and I still had those, but they went with the house fire, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
I rescued them for as long as I could. They had a much longer life. Yeah, that's how I got into that. And where did I learn my skills? Just picked them up as I went along. A few basic electronics courses and working for the electronics company. So yeah,
Pencil case Spectrums.
it was awful thing.
Did they have leaded solder?
They did. They had leaded pencils, and they were just sat there going, "Kill me, kill me."
Igor Perucci says, "Hi Mark, hope you and your family are safe and well.
Here you go.
What do you think about?" Sorry, Igor, is it? Rather,
I think so.
Igor, sorry, Igor. What do you think about the Atari 8-bit computers? Do you like them? Do you have any experience with them?
I like them, and I think they're very, very surprising. I didn't have any experience with them back in the day, but having seen them since, they're actually excellent. Much better than I ever gave them credit. And I've never really had any hands-on time with them back in the late 80s, early 90s.
They weren't common here, were they?
No.
The Mr. Jamu says, what was the first video game you ever remember playing?
Would have been a TV game, and I would have forced my aging grandmother to play something like football or tennis, which is just bigger bats, you know, on the black and white TV.
Alex Aris says, "Hi Mark, what was your first game to load from tape?"
First game to load from...
Oh, sorry, I've completely misread that
Okay.
question. Hi Mark, what is your most favourite game to load from tape?
Oh, I feel
any
the same, Monty, on the 128K Spectrum. It takes forever. I love the loading screen, but I love the point where it stops loading and then that lovely music starts. That's actually my favourite piece of 8-bit music.
Rob Hubbard, is it?
Yes,
Is it Rob on the Specky?
I think so,
He's more
yeah.
famous for his Commodores, but
I think it is. I'm not sure now.
it probably when I spoke to him, he used to tell me that his wife actually did a lot of the ports to the other systems.
Really?
So it might be that his wife did the Spectrum one. I don't know.
It's
just
still
pure
excellent.
speculation. But
Whoever wrote it, it's amazing. I just love it. Do, 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 do. Oh, I love it.
Nick Bartle, of all the retro system companies from back in the day, which would you like to have seen survive, and which do you think, had it survived, would have influenced the home computer market the most?
Oh, well, I think that was probably Acorn, and I think they probably did do that with ARM, didn't they?
I guess the name of the company itself hasn't survived, but with ARM they have.
Yeah.
But is there another one that didn't survive that you think if they did survive they would have had a big influence?
Well, Commodore's the easy one to go for, but it was so badly mismanaged that...
Nick Bartle, he actually says obviously the only right answer is Commodore.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go, Commodore.
Dinty's Hideaway. What would be a list of essential machines or gear that you need to get going again? Could be anything. I would imagine if this ever happened to me, I might miss my Hakko soldering station or my Weha screwdrivers.
Yeah. Weha screwdrivers. Is it Weha, Wehu? The German ones.
W-I-H-A.
Yeah, it might be the German ones.
Waha.
I've just been donated a load of those screwdrivers. They're absolutely excellent. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really a tools snob, but it's got to work and got to be reliable. So I'm quite happy with Duratool stuff, to be honest. It doesn't have to be Hakko or anything. Weller, it's great.
Okay, we got down to Ian White.
Hello, Ian.
What is the plan going forward? Putting all tech aside, would you consider making a second channel documenting the rebuild?
I'm going to say no, because it takes quite a lot of work to maintain even one channel, and a second channel documenting the rebuild. I know Elliot did really well with that on the Retro Future, but there's really not going to be that amount of interesting work going on. I'm handing it all over to the insurer to do it anyway, so yeah.
Will you just sort of take a bit of video here and there and chuck it in a folder, and then maybe one day?
Yeah, I'll keep everybody up to date with what's going on. Okay. But I don't think it'll be that interesting.
Dave Draper, as a kid, did you ever have a local place to go and play arcade games? If so, what was the game you enjoyed to play the most on the arcade? And did it ever get a port to your favourite home computer for you to enjoy?
It was up the local burger bar, and they usually had things like Commando, and the one I pick out, probably Double Dragon. Oh no, actually no, Dragon Ninja, and that did actually have a home port, which was terrible. And yes, I did buy it.
Are you a bad enough dude?
I'm not. I couldn't save President Ronnie.
Oil of Hope. If Mark didn't fix stuff, what would Mark do instead? What is the highest mountain Mark ever climbed? And what is Mark's favourite metal band?
What would I do instead? Probably start Colt. Highest mountain I've ever climbed, no mountains. And favourite metal band, Megadeth.
What about hill? What was the highest hill you've ever been up?
I've been up Glastonbury Tor.
There we go, Glastonbury.
That's quite high.
Good. Count Duckula.
Ooh.
What is the origin of the gummy helpers?
I think the Haribo factory. I think that's where they come from.
What is your greatest repair success and failure? Any memorable lessons from them?
So hard. It's like
you couldn't answer this one earlier. That was on your greatest success. So what about failure? Is anyone that's really got to, any attempted repair that's really got to you that you couldn't do it?
Oof, when I tried to repair your Neo Geo Pocket Color, which had all the battery leak, and I got it almost working, and then I went to rework it all, and it just died terribly.
I don't think any video ever came out.
We never had a chance because the fire happened.
Because the fire took it. Have you got any footage of it?
I think I have.
Yeah,
I think I
might be able to dig that out, but yeah, it just leaked all over, and you did incredibly well to get anything out of it. And
I got it working, but then the screen died, and I ordered a screen, and we were going to continue, and then the fire happened. So that's my greatest failure. The middle bit where I killed it after repairing it. It happens sometimes, though. I'm not going to lie to people. You know, you got to leave your flaws in there, otherwise it's just dishonest.
Retro Game On. Any recommendation for an affordable desoldering gun?
Just go for the Duratool. I think it's D068 or 78 or something. It's the one that you see me using all the time. Just go for that. It's
the one that goes moo.
The moo gun, yeah.
Paul Horton, is it just me? Or is this show littered with penis gags?
It's just you, Paul. You have a filthy mind.
Aspinari, bacon or sausage?
Yes.
Bonus second question, pancakes or waffles?
Yes.
ZX Spectrum, Mark, kia ora from Wellington, New Zealand.
Kia ora, mate.
What was the most rewarding repair in your career and why?
Cool. It's the same one again, isn't it?
Well, this is rewarding, so it might not have been the most difficult, but you might have felt the most rewarded by it. I guess you've mentioned the LCD. You found quite rewarding.
Yeah, there is that, but also the repair that I found the easiest, which rewarded me the most, was the 3DOs with the capacitors, which dry out.
Right next to the PSU.
Yeah, I did dozens of those, which is good because it's nice to be able to get machines working and back out there. So that's probably up there as one of the easiest but most rewarding fixes, I'd say, probably.
Andrew S. Regarding setting up the videos again, I saw on Twitter a suggestion that you use part of the RMC secret arcade space for your studio to your backup and running again. Might we see Mark Fix's stuff hosted by The Cave for a bit?
The wonderful Cave.
There's a small problem. I mean, you're more than welcome to do that, but there's a slight snag in that plan.
You did actually offer. You did offer.
I did.
Neil did offer, but the problem is that where I live and where the cave is located is about an hour and a half drive. So it's not really a comfortable commute. And I try to come here, once a week, but it's not somewhere where I could easily work. And I keep quite strange hours as well. I work around my children's schooling because a couple of my kids have got special needs. So I can work quite late into the night, and I don't want to work in this building late at night because it's haunted.
I will wake up to messages that Mark sent me on Discord at 3, 4 in the morning. Just because those are the hours that you've got the time and the space to work. Yeah.
And also the secret arcade is sacrosanct. So we don't want to tread on that hallowed ground until we've reached the goal. And where are we on the road now?
Don't worry. Don't worry about my channel, Mark.
Oh, I'm worried about getting all those arcade machines in. That's what I want.
The goal is to get you a gym subscription so you can get those arcade machines up the stairs.
Oh, I don't know about gym subscription. Mate, my money to start subscribing to a bloody funeral plan after getting all this stuff up here.
Jeremy Rayner, I was so sorry to hear about your fire.
Thank you, Jeremy.
You and your family are doing okay.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry to even have to ask these questions, but you seem uniquely placed to help others right now. So, it could so easily happen to any of us. What reasonable fire prevention tips would you offer the retro community, e.g. unplugging kit overnight, removing batteries, storing batteries separately, surge protectors, things like that, daisy chaining sockets, anything? I guess this is kind of looking with hindsight as to how your setup was. What tips would you offer people? Or are you implementing different ways of setting things up now to prevent that?
I mean, the problem is we know it was an electrical fire, but we don't know what started it. My suspicion would be, out of all the things that I might have had plugged in, would be a dodgy phone charger. So the two things I would say: make sure your smoke alarms are working, and always change the battery. The smoke alarms save lives. And buy branded chargers, and if at all possible, don't leave anything that looks cheap or tacky or too light or rubbish plugged in, which I don't know what caused it, so I'm not going to implicate myself on video.
So difficult now, isn't it? Because
it is.
You go onto somewhere like Amazon and you go, I'll just get a cheap charger.
Yes.
But so much slips through Amazon.
It does. You
doesn't...
don't know unless you pull it apart. If you look at like Big Clive, for example, he pulls stuff apart that's horrifying, and you never think your house is going to catch fire. Trust me, it does. So smoke alarm, don't leave cheap chargers plugged in. Yeah.
I have everything on smart plugs here, and I always check before I leave, are they off? But then I'm thinking, well, are the smart plugs cheap? Are the smart plugs themselves going to burst into flames? Because they're still technically on. You just don't know.
And there's a lot of recriminations after something catches fire, and you blame yourself and what could you have done differently. But, as long as you're alive, there's lessons to be learned.
He also asks, would you recommend that we catalogue our retro collections?
I'm uniquely lucky, perhaps, that most of the things I've got are on videos or I've shown to my patrons via little vlogs and stuff, so I can screen capture it. But if you've got anything of value, then make sure you do sort of have some kind of picture of it, and also make sure that your contents on your house is high enough to cover that. You don't specifically need a list. You don't need specialist insurance. In fact, if you ask them, they'll probably tell you no. But yeah, do keep a list.
Jeremy's also linked to what he calls an amusing 1971 animation about fire safety that people might enjoy. Have you got to see that yet?
I'll watch that later. But
okay.
I'm feeling a bit more like emotionally hard.
But there is a link on the post here if anyone else wants to see that. Philip McAllister, Mark, I'm after some advice. I have a vintage joystick hardwired to my old machine.
Right.
It's seen some use and is now really limp with little action in it. My wife now won't play with me because she prefers a stick with a firmer action.
Right. Okay.
Like a zip stick. Is there a quick fix I can make to the shaft, or will I need to seek out a specialist for advice?
I think the only option for that situation, maybe get a multi-tap, get another player involved, and then you'll just, maybe use a thumb pad, something like that, some different way to agitate your controller.
Do you think his wife might be impressed by a monster joystick?
I think everybody's impressed by a monster joystick.
Genuine
Samurai arcade parts. Genuine.
Son of Akatosh says, "Hi Mark, I follow you because of your flux fetish."
It's a
Going
fetish.
downhill quickly.
It is, isn't it?
I'd like to ask you a pretty common question. What is your preferred 8-bit machine and why is it the Amstrad CPC 6128? Thanks and cheers.
Yeah, it's not. It's the Spectrum, but nice try.
Rolf Regensburg says, Mark, what was the first time you can remember being annoyed with a new feature of a new computer and longed for the good old days?
Windows 98.
Really?
Yeah.
Not Windows 95 or...
No, Windows
98 was a step too far for you.
Yeah, Windows 98. Windows 95 was cute. Windows 98 just ruined all the cuteness of Windows 95 and buggered things up.
He says, for example, I remember being horrified when our new family computer booted into Windows 95 instead of DOS, which I found very restrictive and childlike, even though I was a child. But I was 11 and I was a big boy.
Absolutamente.
Terry says, hi Mark, I'm glad to see you're moving forward from that terrible, terrible event. Have you had any computer or console in your collection that's turned out to be very temperamental in its operation?
Vectrex.
So that you've had to constantly do some repair or other tips? Always the Vectrex.
Bloody Vectrex, yeah.
Any one part of the Vectrex or just all of it?
Just one part. The whole Vectrex.
Okay.
You have to thump it sometimes to make it come on, yeah.
Robert K. Hi Mark, good to see you seem to be over the initial shock of the fire and that you're motivated to fix stuff again.
Absolutely.
I personally enjoy the fact that you keep your mistakes in your videos and you show us how you deal with them.
Thank you.
What was the biggest mistake you made while trying to fix something and were you able to fix it in the end?
Probably the worst thing I've ever done, which wasn't in a video, was I knocked the soldering iron off of the stand on top of a 48K Spectrum.
Did it go
And
through
didn't
the
realise
plastic?
for about a minute because I was doing something else on the other workbench and I turned around, it just melted right through. Did I fix it? Yeah, I put it into a new case with a new membrane. It was fine, but it wasn't the same machine. That's kind of cheating, isn't it?
Wishes it was a pencil case.
Yeah. Yeah, so did I fix it? No, I replaced the case.
Oh,
that was the biggest mistake I ever made. Elbows, dear, elbows.
In terms of repairs, generally because you're making a video about it and you're trying to get out, say, one video or however many videos a week, you over prepare for these things, don't you? Because the cost of failure is that much lost time and views and all the rest of it.
And people not being able to see content, which is painful for me. I hate that.
So I'm convinced that if I wasn't making YouTube videos, I would make a hell of a lot more mistakes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Same for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Matteo Pascalini says, what did you take in school? What did you want to take in school?
Oh, what did I take in school? Well, anything that wasn't nailed down, really. I had pens, pencils, folders. Took one of the teacher's cars once. No, I'm only joking. I took it several times. What did I take in school? Science, additional science, English, German, art.
Was this GCSE?
Yeah,
level?
just GCSE.
And
And then, because, no, I couldn't do A-levels because we didn't really have a lot of money. I had to sort of leave school and get a job.
Okay. Yeah. What odd jobs have you had along the way?
Oh, every job's odd. It's not normal to go and work. Odd jobs. I was a groundskeeper for a mailing firm, which involved sweeping the yard. I was, I've done loads of things. A recruitment consultant advisor. I know, right? I know. Trainer, technical trainer, photographer, DJ. Oh, God, I've done all sorts of things. Worked at McDonald's once when I was little.
Really?
Yeah.
Matteo also said that I wanted to do computer stuff, so I took electronics, but ended up going from tech support to babysitting a Xerox copier, and now my new career is in food manufacturing, hot dogs and deli meats.
Whew, so it's good news then. I like hot dogs and I like deli meats.
And that is your last question.
Oh, thank you very, very much. Well, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate all the questions, and I appreciate you, Neil, taking the time to read them out. I'm surprised we got through them all, actually. I'm surprised we got through them. I don't know how this video is lengthwise. Is it like 5 hours or something?
It's going to be the video. It's going to be a series for the next 4 weeks.
I'll just release it all in one go. Who needs a retention stats, eh? So
it's a great reflection on your community and your viewers that you've had that many questions.
They're lovely, aren't they?
On a Q&A. So
lovely people. Thank you ever so much for your questions. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Neil. And I'll see you all out there again really soon. Remember, subscribe to get your fix and dwell in his cave.